Hello guys, and welcome to a really special review. This is a review of a new product in the tattoo industry called Real Skin, by a company called Real Skin. This company contacted me and they asked me if I wouldn't mind trying out their new product and if I could give it a review. Before I start this review, I will say I've got no affiliation with Real Skin. I'm not paid to say this. They sent me the product and they gave me free rein to do what I want with the skin. Now, there are tattoo skins available on the market. There's the really cheap ones that's out, you know, the really thin ones that you see on eBay. There's, you know the kind I mean. Which a complete waste of money in my opinion. The skin's too thin. It's nothing like Real Skin, and it's just, in my opinion, they're a complete waste of time. Then there was a shift, and I've got a little snippet of one here. It's just a cut off one, but you know these ones that you can get hold of, and they come in different sizes, but they've got this on the end. That's how you can distinguish them. They're a little bit thicker. Basically, these were marginally better than the cheap eBay skins, but again, they were hit and miss. When you tattoo on these, it's nothing like Real Skin at all. You know, you'll pull a line on these, you'll wipe off, and the line is so faint on these things. And a big problem that I find with everything that I've used so far was when you're actually putting the stencil on the skin. So from the very off, putting the stencil on the skin, what you'd find was the stencil solution, or whatever you use to adhere the stencil to the practice skin, it wouldn't dry. So like with human skin, obviously you put the stencil on, probably wait 10-15 minutes and the stencil's really dry and you're good to go. These things, they never seem to do that, and you know, you'd have to literally leave it about 24 hours and maybe it'd be dry, and then you'd reach a point where either the stencil would come off as soon as you touched it, as soon as you just touched it with your finger, or you got up the side of your hand here and you touch the stencil and it'd be gone. Or you'd leave it so long, like I used to use these and I left them like maybe 2 days before, and they'd dry on so hard that the stencil doesn't actually come off. And again, that's also just as bad really as the stencil coming off, because if you've got doing like you want to practice like a portrait or something like that, and you've got these nice shades, when your tattoo is done, you've still got all these big purple stencil lines and dots and dashes and everything over your finished tattoo. So to be honest, with regards to practice skin, it's always been very hit and miss for me personally. I know some people use pig skin. I've used pig skin before. I only used it once, and the reason I didn't use it again is because every 20 minutes it just started breaking up, it started dissolving. You have to put it back in the fridge, you know, let it cool down again, and then you take it out of the fridge, and it was just it just wasn't for me. And then came this stuff from Real Skin. Now, I got really excited about this when the company contacted me. I want to say thanks for the company contacting me and for choosing me to review their product. And they sent me like an A4 sheet, and they also sent me an A3 sheet. And I had actually read some stuff about this Real Skin before they even contacted me. I just saw it in the Skin Deep magazine, which is the biggest selling UK tattoo magazine. And I saw an advert for this stuff just as I was browsing through the magazine, and then I think it was about 6 weeks later I got an email from one of the team at Real Skin, purely coincidence, so I was well up for trying this stuff out. And the reason I was really intrigued about this stuff is because they claim it stretches like Real Skin. Now, this stuff and all the cheap eBay stuff, none of that stuff stretches, okay? So, when this stuff came in the post, I was like a kid at Christmas. I couldn't wait to try it out, because I love trying out new products. And, let me get you... You can see the thickness of it there, so it's quite thick. And you can only tattoo on one side of this, okay? So, the shiny side, you can't tattoo. All these are handmade by the company, and this stuff stretches like Real Skin. That was the claim, and guys, that's exactly what it does. And I've not used practice skin for a long time. I used it when I was first apprenticing, and I've had so much fun with this stuff, reviewing it. I'm gonna do my best with the camera to pick this up, but well, let me show you like this first. And the feel of this stuff, it basically feels like it's supposed to be. It feels like skin. It's a really strange product. I don't know how it's made, what the guys make it out of, but and it's got a wetness to it almost. You can see the shine on my fingers there where I've been touching it. And this stuff, when you're touching it and you're stretching it, it feels like skin. It's a really strange sensation, to be honest, because say when you've been using this stuff doesn't stretch. So for an apprentice or anyone getting into tattooing, this is why this stuff's been made, guys. This is for people practicing tattooing. I've said time and time again, don't practice on people, be responsible, guys. I tattoo obviously on a daily basis, and the reason why this is so clever is because the stretch, it doesn't stretch like it would if you had a piece of elastic and it just stretched and the company said, hey, our skin stretches. This skin has got the same amount of stretch as you'd get in, say, a thigh, or maybe between the belly and the ribs, that sort of area. It's got that sort of stretch in it. So there's only a little bit of give in it, but there's enough in it to feel just like normal skin. A great thing about this product as well is when you put the stencil solution on, now I use stencil stuff to do this, when you put the stencil solution on, you rub it in, and again, going back to this stuff, when I used to put this on, I used to put the tiniest amount on, you'd see it like sat on top. I put probably the same amount on this as what I would on human skin. And before I put the stencil on, I'd noticed the stencil solution started to soak into the skin. It started to dry, and that doesn't happen with this stuff. And this, even from, it's made to practice tattooing on, but even down to putting the stencil on, it's the same sort of experience. So you're getting everything from the off, even down to practicing putting stencils on. I used, for the review, I did a portrait, which I'll show you in a minute, and I'll put the video up as well. Just a quick time-lapse video, dropping in and out of doing the actual tattoo. So when I put the stencil solution on, I was really shocked how quick it was drying in, like it does on human skin, because there's been loads of times when I put stencil solution on, and then you're messing about with this and that, and then you have to apply another layer because the solution's dried off, and that's what it started doing on this. So then I laid the stencil on top, like you would on skin, took it off. I got a nice transfer, probably not as solid as I would on human skin. It wasn't as dark as it was, but to be honest, it was enough to tattoo, which you'll see because I also videoed putting the stencil on. And then I left it. Now, bearing in mind, this stuff, I used to leave 48 hours personally for it to dry. Now, this stuff, I left just 40 minutes. And after 40 minutes, it was completely dry. Now, I know with skin, you're looking at 10 to 15 minutes for it to be completely dry. But to be honest, after waiting 48 hours for the old stuff, 40 minutes is nothing. And the stencil was nice and dry, and more importantly, again, when I was tattooing with it, the stencil actually mimicked like it was on real skin. And what I mean by that is, you're tattooing with your machine, you're wiping off, and maybe you've got like a little bit of stencil left where, because there's obviously alcohol in the tattoo ink, so the alcohol's slowly making the stencil disappear, and the Vaseline that you're using is slowly eating into the stencil, and that's exactly what it did. So it didn't wipe off with one wipe, it gradually went as it would when you're doing a normal tattoo. So I decided to do a portrait just to test the skin. So this is the A3 skin. I just did the classic Monroe portrait. And another thing with this skin is it's so manageable, it's so clean afterwards, using this stuff, going back to this again, when you're using the cheap stuff and it's all muddy and everything like that. Look how clean this is around here. I tattoo with a pretty clean work area anyway. You know, I'm very precise at what area I'm working on. I put a nice bit of Vaseline on this, that, other. But when I was using the cheaper stuff, I'd always, at the end of the tattoo, it'd be covered in ink everywhere, and this stuff, it just wipes off nice and clean. And I found myself, as I was actually tattooing, I was actually stretching as I would normal skin, because the stretch was in there, whether it be stretching like this or stretching like this, you know, it depends on what angle I was at. But what I'm getting at is, when I used to use the cheap stuff, I just stopped stretching. And you can tell an apprentice time and time again, you've got to stretch, you've got to stretch. But if there's no reason to stretch and you're not getting any benefits from stretching, you just stop doing it. And with this stuff, what I found was, when I was stretching, when I was tattooing, I was actually stretching to make the skin a bit tighter, just to get some finer details in, especially like around the eyes and the lips and places like that. So I was naturally stretching as I would when I was tattooing. All in all, guys, this product is, for me, it's number one. Check them out. Go to Real Skin. Here we go. It's realskin.co.uk. There's the details. Check them out. And like I said before, credit to these guys. They've just sent me the skin and said, hey, would you mind reviewing it? So they haven't said to me, oh, give this a really good review. As it happens, I have gave it a really good review, because it's a really, really good product. But my point being is, these guys just contacted me and said, give this product a review. Now, if it were bad, I would have said it were bad. You know, I'll say what I see. And so credit to them, and that shows you the confidence that they've got in their own product, that they were confident enough that it was going to get a good review. So check them out, guys. realskin.co.uk. Get over there, so you can get this stuff, and I think they do it in A4, A5, A3, and they're even starting to do torsos in it and stuff like that. They're going to be a big company when it starts hitting all the supply chains. So check them out, guys, at realskin.co.uk, and here's a quick snippet of the video that I took when I was actually tattooing this portrait. Thanks, guys. So I'm giving commentary over the top of this video now. We've sped it up. This is me just showing the last stage of making the stencil on standard hectograph paper. It's just how I do all my stencils, really. And there's the stencil stuff, and we've applied the stencil like that. You can see we've got a decent transfer there, and that was left for 40 minutes, and it completely dried. For this tattoo I used the Cheyenne pen with 11 curved mag 00. And also a bug pin 5-round liner. And we're just dipping in and out of this video, just like a time-lapsed few snapshots, really, just showing you the skin in action. You can see the skin, it doesn't stain like the cheap skins do, and you know, the work area seems to get very messy. This it wipes really clean, it stays clean. Just going up around the nose area now, onto the eyes. And I'm still stretching. I'm using my right hand to like pull the skin down, like I would do if I were tattooing. Sometimes I stretch with the forefinger and the thumb, and other times I'm stretching by pulling the skin down with my right hand, and that's just the way I stretch. And you'll see on this video, you can see as I'm pushing down on the skin's actually moved. See, I'm using the other stretch there that I've just been talking about with my forefinger and thumb. And every time I wipe down, you can see the skin stretching. You can see it moving just like normal skin does. And we're coming probably towards the end of the tattoo now. I've got all the stencil committed to the skin, and I'm just filling in the dots, basically going round, making sure all the shades are right. The skin performs really, really well, I have to say, and this is the end result. We'll just put a bit of tattoo cleanser on there and wiped off, and looks so clean again. So clean, so nice, and there you go, no problems tattooing that at all. That's the final result, and the website's on there as well, realskin.co.uk. Check them out, guys, they're going to be big.